Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of my Facebook Live UX audits. I decided to dress the way I feel today, which is like shit. I've been having migraines for the past couple of days and it's really set me back in work. So I'm hoping that today I can make it a productive one. But of course, I couldn't forget to get in one of these audits. I'm all about consistency. So even when I feel like crap, I'm always going to try to do these. But, vacations and holidays, maybe not so much. But anyways, so today we are going to look at another Denver Bloggers Club site that I'll bring up that you can see right now. It's called Telecommuting Moms, and the proprietor is a lady named Elena. And so this will be kind of different from some of the audits we've done before. A lot of the blogs that I've gone through have been like food blogs or fitness blogs. This one's kind of interesting because it appears to be like an affiliate marketing, like monetization blog. Like it's a blog that exists to help create income for the person behind it through things like clicking links and getting commissions. So I'm really excited to go through this and let's get to it. So one of my first impressions of this website is just that there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm all about sort of a minimalistic look that puts a feature on the content, especially if it is a blog, over like a company website or something like that. And so you'll notice, we have like a couple different menus. We have this like header image. We have an ad here. We have an ad here. We have an ad in the sidebar. We have a couple ads in the sidebar, actually quite a few. And so, one thing that I've said with other bloggers whose websites I've gone over on these lives in the past is just, do some tests to figure out which of these ads are converting the best and then get rid of most, if not all of the other ones, because ads really do take away from the user experience. Most people have gotten to the point where they just ignore them, but it might be creating a conversion problem on your website if you have these ads because, the idea of it being distracting, especially this bottom one that keeps changing, it's taking my focus away from the content itself. So, one easy change I could see on this website is just reducing the ads and putting the focus more on the content, seeing as how the content itself, at least my understanding without digging in too deep, is that it'll also have ways to convert and make money off of that content separate from the ads. So another thing that's worth bringing up, and I'm not sure if I said this on a previous audit or not, but get rid of those Google Plus buttons on your website. I'm going to have to check mine and make sure that I've done it too. But Google Plus is officially going away as of, I want to say April. I think I just got an email that said that. And so, you don't want to still have this up, especially if it eventually turns into a broken link, because broken links can be bad for SEO, whether, you're directing to broken links internally on your website or externally to other websites. So, it also, it just looks not so good, especially if social media is a big part of driving traffic to your blog. It maybe makes you look like, you're not up to date on what's going on in social. So especially important for a blogger, but for a business too, I would say. So when I was looking through this website, I saw that it was an elegant themes design, which makes me think that it's probably Divi. Which is a great theme, especially for beginners to use because it involves a lot of like drag and drop, like page building functionality. And they also have a lot of like pre-built layouts and content blocks and stuff that you can use. So definitely a good choice for any blogger, especially a beginner. Another thing I'm noticing that's just throwing me off a little bit is the fact that the search bar is not aligning with these icons, and it seems like it should be just because of like the stylistic treatment of it. So, look for opportunities to create alignment between different elements. Otherwise, they tend to stand out like a sore thumb. Let's see here. And then I think I like that the menus are separate so that we have all the like blog categories down here, but then we have like the top level pages about, contact, and so on here. But it is a little bit, I'm not sure exactly if this is just me or if this is a user experience problem. The fact that this is all flushed to the right and then this is centered throws me off just a little bit. I wonder if this should be centered too. And I wonder what the implications of that would be for the social stuff. But another thing I noticed is if you have the screen a little bit less, because I'm on my 28-inch Mac right now, but if I was on my laptop, it would probably look more like this. It's not super sightly to have your categories or menu items bounce down to another line. And granted, it does make this top menu navigation look better because it's more like pushed towards this other side. It doesn't look like it's as flushed right, but this doesn't look so great. And so one way around that is to just use more succinct category titles. So, you know, like I don't know enough about the topic to suggest them, but maybe instead of work at home resources, it's just resources. You know, maybe instead of work at home companies, it's just like companies to work with or something like that. You know, ideally more succinct than that, but that's just my initial thoughts looking through it right now. So another thing that I think takes away from all the great content on this site is the fact that there are a lot of like things that are taking attention away from the content. I think I just said something dumb, but bear with me. Again, I'm going to blame it on my just general being in a weird spot this week. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is like we have this get your free ebook right here, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you look at that compared to everything that's already going on in the header, it almost gets lost. And if people notice it, then with all this stuff plus this ad, it's just like, oh my God, like where are my eyes supposed to go? Like it's a little disorienting. And then we also have it here, so it almost feels like maybe we should just talk about the ebook here in the sidebar. But the formatting is super weird, as you'll notice here, and it'll probably get better as I move this. No, not necessarily. So you kind of want to make it so that this image isn't on the same line as the text, and there's like a division between that. And that'll probably solve the majority of your problems with the formatting here. Another thing I noticed while going through this site is there are some spacing issues. And so readability formatting to me is such a big part of the user experience because it basically should go unnoticed. If it's good, it'll go unnoticed. But if it's bad, then it really like sets people off and it ruins some of the like professionalism of your website, I think. So like right here, we have featured posts and then we have popular like right next to it where, first of all, I don't even know if the word popular is necessary, but if you were to include it, I'd have like a semicolon and then a space. And I've seen it on other parts of the website too that we'll probably look at in a minute here, but let's finish looking at the homepage. So, you know, another thing is like, you know, because of probably what is like a very strict width on these like table cells or, you know, however it is they're structured, divs maybe, it's pushing parts of the word to another line, like transcription here. The N is on a different line because it really has no other place to go. What would probably be better is like more of a grid-based navigation that's a little bit more fluid with, you know, how wide these elements can be so that it doesn't affect the way that, you know, like the words are displayed. Again, I think it kills some of the professionalism of this site to have a weird reading experience, but I think it's something that could be easily fixed. The other thing, this slider, it just isn't working for me because there's too many elements on it, and what it really would be better as is if this was just one post and then maybe a slider so that you could see some other of the most like popular posts or whatever, but having one in the display at all times instead of 4. That way you could display the whole line without any issues. You can add an excerpt, you can have the photo, you can have like a call to action button, and it wouldn't be pushing up against all these other elements. So then we have other like recent blog posts. It's hard to get excited about them. A, because there's no visuals. B, because there's a lot of text here and it's not focused, so it looks like it's just pulling like what and this is something I'm guilty of too. I still need to optimize my blog posts for excerpts, for like the featured version of them before people actually click through. But, instead of showing like the first few lines of text, optimizing for the excerpt is a way better strategy. It could be as simple as copying like your meta description, or, if you're optimizing your open graph tags for what it's going to look like on social, just copying that and putting that in the excerpt. So something like that would help. I don't love that it lists out all the categories. If there's going to be like 5 or 6 categories, to me that seems excessive. I don't usually tag more than 2, 3 at the most, partially because I don't want to create a visual like this. So one good idea for this website might be to just remove the categories from view in this specific view. It's not so bad if it's on the blog page itself. All right, so let's keep going here. The sidebar, ideally what I like to see on a blog sidebar, I don't like to see them on the homepage. I've said that before, just because the homepage should be more of a focus on whatever your most important goals are, your latest content, things like that. But having a structure that doesn't change based on whatever your latest posts are. So you're still, ideally you've created a homepage that still speaks to like who you are as a brand in an unchanging sort of way, but also like later featuring your latest post. But anyway, I don't like the sidebar on the homepage because I feel like that's typically something reserved for a sub page. You should be able to communicate all these things on the page without having it be a sidebar, and then, getting rid of whatever elements you don't need. So like these ad widgets here, they don't scale really nicely depending on what the ad is. Like I think you could just see that one ad that took up like a third of this space. So that's kind of a problem, that there's like a lot of white space depending on what the ad is. But it's also a problem that there are 3 ads in a row. That's just excessive to me. And, it seems to be repeating some of the same ones too. So it just doesn't look great. And let's see here. So I'll go into a couple more pages just to give you an idea of what the rest of the site looks like, but we're already getting close to time here, so let's just look really quick. What I was going to say is I like to see on the sidebar, like on the blog pages and on the sub pages, something about the blog's author. So, like a picture, a very brief bio. Again, get rid of this Google Plus thing here. I'm not in love with all this different text formatting, especially because it's not just different spacing. So this is like double spacing, this is like single, but it's also a different color and a different size. So if you're going to change like different text elements, focus on changing one part of them, not like every part of them. Otherwise, it's going to create a pretty bad reading experience. So, Elena does have like some like awesome places that she's worked with and, things that are worth talking about, but it's hard to even distinguish this from the rest of the text because it's just a huge block. It's really small. It's kind of a harsh contrast on my eyes. So, don't ever underscore the importance of having readable, just, plain text. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it has to be something that people can easily read. Otherwise, they just won't, to be honest. So adding things like better paragraph spacing, maybe limiting each paragraph to like 2 to 3 sentences would be a good way to fix this, as well as just having consistency in the text styling, and maybe turning the work that she's done with other brands into icons just so that it breaks up the text a little bit with some visual imagery. So let's look at 1 or 2 other pages. Well, you're not supposed to be up there, you little jerk. All right. So actually, let's look at the contact me page. So I'd like to see a little bit more copy here about like what she would expect people to get in contact about. Like she has an advertise button here. She has a hire me button. So there's obviously a couple things that people can do to work with her. So, you know, restate those here, especially if people don't make it to these other pages but are interested in working with you. It helps to kind of prompt them a bit. What else did I want to say? Maybe we'll look at this new start here page. You know, I would also say this, it's always a great idea when bloggers have like a start here, like, you know, this is, you know, resources, or like one of those pages where it's clear that if somebody's new to the website, they should start there to get an idea of what it's all about. I'd love to see a repeat, kind of, you know, like an edited repeat of who Elena is, like what she does, introducing herself, because ultimately this website is about her. It's, you know, her baby. And so people want to know the person behind the blog. That's how they get to know you. That's how they get to like you. And that's how they get to trust you. And people only buy from those that they know, like, and trust. So it's an important part of the process there. So anyway, I think I'm going to end it here since I have so much other stuff to do today, and I'm sure you're tired of me ranting for the day. So with that, I will get this up on YouTube, and we'll go for another one next week, and hopefully I will not feel like crap then. All right, bye.